I am the Revolution Samuels, and your daily sermon has begun, because there are sinners, there are disgusting, deplorable harridans out there, and there are very few women out there that are as much of a disgusting harridan in this day and age than Rachel Zegler. And how disgusting is she? A beloved film like Snow White has collapsed under the disgusting, disgusting evil of all of her arrogance and stupidity. And even though you've got Forbes going out there and trying to defend her, saying that it was not her, but it was the movie, that's why the Snow White remake bombed. Wrong, baby. Because there's plenty of other films out there that are live-action remakes of beloved cartoons that bomb, and yet you do not have a face to put to the name that makes it a miserable waste of time. But also, let's look at now what another outlet of all people. It's almost as if one outlet now is no longer either taking the money from a disgusting studio to cover up their failure, or they're actually going from some other element within the same studio with a different outlet getting a different check to make them give different kind of orders. So while Forbes is doing everything it can to cover for the lies and deceptions of Rachel Zegler right there, you've got Variety now publishing an article talking about just how much of a monster that she was. About how the second that she went on stage at day 20 right there to post about and reveal the first trailer for the Snow White remake, there she was all over X praising all those people that upvoted and viewed the trailer and then said, as always, free Palestine. Because nothing's going to go and really help distract people from you criticizing the qualities of the original film to whom you do not like and speak ill of, and at the same time are gladly accepting the starring role in the remake of. Yeah, it's almost as if, like anybody else in your situation, you are somebody that has no ability to think or feel beyond your own disgusting little current year California commie crap, and yet you want to go out of your way to go and instead of make something with your face and your worldview on it that would be better than that, no, that require you having creativity. And since you don't, what you got to do is take something before that your existence and something that will continue to be beloved after your existence, and then insert your own perversion into it, because that is what the devil always does. And trust me, now good old Rachel Zegler may not be Satan, that will always be Kathleen Kennedy in this current day and age, but there are those that gladly accept the disgusting poisons of the first of the fallen and will dedicate their life to service to the first of the fallen. Just look at Lil Nas X, and now you'll see Rachel Zegler will be a continued devotee to Satan. Hence why she wants to go and put in that political rhetoric that basically screams death to the chosen people. And let's not forget about her co-star, Miss Israel, the woman who, unlike any other self-serving woman in Hollywood like Zegler, has actually gone and served anybody besides herself, and by service to someone else, I do not mean service completely just on your hands and knees in front of Harvey. No, I mean service like to her nation of Israel in the Israeli Defense Force that she served. And let's also not forget about some social media comments where Rachel Zegler replied to referring to Gadot as a professional beauty queen. But I'll take a professional pageant queen over a professional bitch any day. And I know I'm not alone on that sort of sentiment. And then you add on to all this the inserting of the Israel-Palestine conflict into a Snow White remake, the way that taking the subject of a Ghostbusters reboot and making it about feminism, and then arrogant, conceited idiot involved in that production thinks that that's actually going to cool the temperature of the online discourse around this film leading up to its release. Yeah. Guess what? Now it's also in this very same Variety article being reported that because of Zegler bringing the Israel-Palestine conflict into the remake, that then Gal Gadot needed extra paid security by Disney all around the clock. And I'd like to remind you that Gal Gadot has a husband and multiple children to her name. And let's also not forget a recent event involving Gal Gadot out there in public, I believe, in the Hollywood Walk of Fame. We actually had to bring in extra security because of Palestine protesters turning the little public event into a violent outburst, like it was no different from somebody disagreeing with a tweet that a Ben & Jerry's executive had to say, so Antifa has to go and cave their heads in with bricks. But remember, If they can't get their way, if they hear anything outside of their little Jon Stewart hug box, they're gonna go and read their head off. Just like Zegler, who even when somebody involved, a producer on the film, flew his way out to New York to speak to her directly, she stood her ground and said no and kept that Free Palestine always post up there in defiance of what even the studio knew this was fucking stupid and that this would ruin the success of their movie. So now it's actually nice to know that in this way it's turned the corporation behind the Snow White remake into suddenly being again all about stand your ground laws again, all over again. New boss, same as the old boss. Obama's second term, same as now the left-wing rhetoric going around the second term of the president they can't stand. But let's also not forget that with all of these bits of drivel out there, you really should never be surprised that these people only have one thing on their mind, themselves, and that they just use politics to make another one-track mind little tirade about themselves, because this is what happens when you have people that do not live for Jesus, but that they live for themselves, and they live for whatever ever have-minded little garbage that they're gonna go and make themselves into a cipher for, while pretending that they're an important, precious little snowflake. I'm pretty sure you could find a girl that was a better singer and a better actress and just overall a better person on some open mic night up at Austin city limits than you'd ever find out of Rachel Zegler. But the fact that she was able to have years upon years of all of this, that also now in the same article stems all the way back to some contention that happened on account of the award show hype that they were trying to put around the West Side Story remake. And it makes you wonder, well, what exactly it is about Zegler that kept anybody willing to keep her around instead of doing any sort of last-minute excision of her, almost as if she had some kind of demon in her ring that kept her around and has kept her going. And even now with all of this collapsing and falling, she is still having other roles ahead of her. It makes him wonder. It makes me think. And it also makes me hope that with hearing all this, you will subscribe, that you will become a channel member, and that you will go and support the channel through the art store where there's the artwork you can buy or commission, or you can support with a direct donation in that store. And for that now, your daily sermon is done.